Greatest Saturdays, and today Lana and I have decided that we're going to comment a little bit more on sort of a comment that was started on one of the videos, and it was just a really awesome topic, so we decided we wanted to elaborate a little bit more on it. And TomX26 posed the topic, and it was sort of a question around how do we decide what is triggering for other people? Like, we obviously know what is triggering for us, but we don't know what's triggering for other people. And I just thought it was awesome, because it's something that I've thought about before, and I don't have to sit and think about it a whole lot right now, because that's not, I'm writing exams, I don't do the sit and think well during exams, anyway. But I've thought about it a lot before, and I think it was just awesome all around. So I am very pleased with this topic. So I guess there's sort of like different things trigger you as you go through your eating disorder, I guess. And one of the things that TomX had mentioned is that it's very individual and it's very subjective, and I totally agree. And it depends where you are, when you are, and what mind space you are, it depends on so many things. And is it a wonder that we really can't figure it out for everyone else when we can barely figure it out for ourselves? No, I don't think so. I think it's difficult. So one of the, I guess I'll just share what I kind of have found kind of helpful. I generally don't really look at the media. And when I do, it's not like the airbrushed model photos. It's more like the stuff that is just caught off guard. The paparazzi stuff, which is terrible, because that's that's bad in its own way too. But like those really trash magazines, like with the please guess whose butt this is, that has cellulite on it. I really don't mind those, and it's not because I'm criticizing the poor person's butt, it's because it looks like mine, and it's flawed. And that I find immensely reassuring. So anytime that I see someone, or see something in the media, or I'm with a friend who struggles with the same things that I do, and he sees something in the media, I like to point out a picture that's also flawed. And we're getting a lot better about showing those in the media. And the other thing too is that you have to remember that if you have certain celebrities like Keira Knightley and that kind of thing, they're not healthy, and they have their own issues. They have their own food issues and whatever, and a lot of them are very upfront about the fact that they don't weigh enough or whatever like that. So that I think is really important to remember, and I think that we get caught up in seeing only one side of it. So when I'm with people who struggle with eating disorders and find that triggering, I like to bring up the other side, kind of just to sort of pad or offset that trigger a little bit. The other thing that comes up a lot is numbers. I generally don't mention anything about weight, like kilograms or pounds or anything like that, and definitely nothing about calories. I do go with a BMI standard, because although I don't agree that it's good for everyone, it's a lot better than what we had with the whole weight thing. And so generally speaking, I use that if I'm going to talk about numbers, and anything outside of the healthy range. So for me, like in Canada, we view a healthy BMI as 20. 18.5 we think is too low. I tell people as a joke, it's because we're so cold up here that we have to have the extra body fat to keep us warm. But we do, seriously. Like, my eating disorder clinic will not discharge you until you reach a BMI of 20. So I use that as a baseline, and I think that it's too low also on the higher end for a lot of athletes and stuff like that. A BMI of 28, 27 is not out of the ordinary. For a lot of normal people, that's still really healthy. So anything outside of that range of 20 to 28 as a BMI. I don't mention. It's just not important. I say underweight or overweight. I don't say a specific number. A lot of people find that the higher end, so like the obese end, not to be triggering, but I can see how it would be. At one point in time, I swore to God I would never ever be fat. I would rather die than be fat. And I stuck to this, like rubber glue or whatever it is that, I'm rubber, you're glue. What I say gets thrown back at you or something, or whatever. That, I would not let go of this idea. And I was talking to my therapist on Thursday, so I'll share this with you too, that it's not that that's changed, it's that my definition of fat has changed. And that my definition of fat no longer fits, the model industry's definition of fat. It no longer fits my definition of fat. It no longer fits even society's definition of fat. My definition of fat fits the medical definition of fat. And it is very subjective and it's flexible. And if you can prove to me that you're healthy while still fat, then you're not fat, because fat is implied as a bad thing. And, so I'm thinking that maybe as our ideas change, that's what keeps the triggers changing. And that as our ideas change, something triggers you less and something triggers you more, and that kind of thing. Oh yeah, I'm starting to get off on a tangent. The other thing too is that there's a lot of numbers out there that aren't weight related that I like to steer clear from too if they're outside of the normal range. And that's because when you get stuck in that sick eating disorder mentality, things like potassium level, B12, folate, that kind of thing, and blood pressure and heart rate and that kind of thing, if they're low, that's almost as much as an accomplishment as weight loss is. And so I like to just sort of not mention a number if that's outside of the normal range too. The third thing is that sometimes towards the end of the stage of recovery, or the middle I guess, when numbers don't really mean anything anymore, when what you see in the media doesn't mean that much anymore, a lot of things that are triggering can have to do with physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. And a lot of times in groups I've been asked not to mention some of what I've been through because it would be too difficult for other people to handle. And if that's something that comes across as cold, it's not that. It's more like we just want to keep everyone safe, and if you want to talk about that with us later outside of group, that's fine. But we just have to be careful, because if you're in a really vulnerable spot, that kind of information can be really dangerous and devastating to your recovery. So yeah, a lot of times if I'm with people who are struggling with eating disorders, just like I wouldn't mention the media, or like I would, sort of, with the media, I would sort of offer a healthy dose of reality, or I wouldn't mention numbers that are outside normal range. I also don't mention a lot of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. I have a live journal, and a lot of times we cut that. Just if you're not in the right spot to see it, then you don't have to. So yeah, I guess that's what basically, those are the kind of triggers that I've found around, like those are the ones that are major for me, and those are just kind of how I've dealt with them. I really appreciate your feedback though. I think it would be really awesome if we got started talking about this. And awesome topic. Have a good weekend. Happy Easter everyone. Wish me luck on my exams. And I will see you next week. Take care.